Most actors try to take control of a scene by adding something. More movement, more volume, bigger reactions. They fill every inch of space so nothing feels uncertain.
Do not compare me to my father!
Because when a performance gets louder, it tends to feel more powerful.
Hey! Lay your palm flat on that tabletop!
I've abandoned my child! I've abandoned my boy!
The whole pack of you, I would gladly give my life to watch you all swallow it.
I can't believe I have to know you forever!
You're fucking insane!
You're my trap! The police! I'll tell you what to tell the police! Get what you fucking deserve!
What's in the box? What's in the f***ing box?
Cillian Murphy does the opposite. And once you start noticing it,
I heard you had trouble. It's good of you to see me.
you'll see it everywhere in his
You
performances.
just came from Palestine.
For more than 20 years, he's been quietly dominating some of the biggest roles in Hollywood. From superhero blockbusters, to large-scale war films, to even some of his more intimate roles. There's something consistent in the way he handles tension on screen.
He builds a legitimate business.
He doesn't rush his lines.
It would be an honor to work with you, Mr. Kimber.
He lets the other person talk.
Nobody works with me. People work for me. Pick it up, Pikey.
Sometimes longer than they should. He holds eye contact, keeps his posture steady, and then he does that thing where he just waits. Not for long, just a moment longer than you'd expect.
Sit down.
And that's when something starts to shift. Because the silence doesn't just disappear, it transfers. Now the pressure is on the other person. They start explaining, talking more than they meant to, giving more away than they planned.
So every stitch, stitched with blood.
And Cillian doesn't need to do anything. He just watches it happen. That's not hesitation. That's control. What makes this even more interesting is that it's not just something you see in a single scene. It's something that's followed him across his entire career, all the way to the biggest stage in film, an Oscar-winning performance.
And the Oscar goes to Cillian Murphy.
Thank you to the Academy, Chris Nolan and Emma Thomas. It's been the wildest, most exhilarating, most creatively satisfying journey you've taken me on over the last 20 years. I owe you more than I can say. I want to thank my incredible team. Big shout out to Craig Banky, Brendan Murphy, Mary Murphy, Yvonne McGuinness, my partner in life and art, my two boys, Malachy and Aaron, who are sitting up there. I love you so much. We made a film about the man who created the atomic bomb, and for better or for worse, we're all living in Oppenheimer's world, so I would really like to dedicate this to the peacemakers everywhere.
Because when you look at what he did in Oppenheimer, nothing about it feels loud or flashy. There are no big outbursts trying to grab your attention, no dramatic shifts to force the emotion. His acting, it all felt internal, controlled, intentional. And yet, it pulls you in more than almost anything else in the film. He lets thoughts sit behind his eyes before they ever reach his words. You can see him processing, calculating, holding things back. And that restraint creates tension you can actually feel. Not because he's doing more, but because he's doing less. And that's why a performance like this lands the way it does. Because in a film built on massive stakes, he never tries to match the scale with noise. His strength comes from staying restrained. And somehow, that restraint becomes the most powerful thing on screen. That's not just great acting, that's precision. But let's step out of the scene for a second, because this isn't just about acting. This is something you've probably experienced in real life. You're talking to someone, and they don't react the way that you expect them to. They don't jump in, they don't respond right away. They just sit there and look at you. And suddenly you feel it. That pressure to keep talking, to explain yourself just a little bit more, to fill that awkward silence. You start adding things you didn't plan to say. Not because you want to, but because the moment feels forced. And most people can't sit through that. So they try to fix it. And the more they try to fix, the more control they give away.
And this is your 6th outing with Cillian Murphy.
Yeah.
When did you first notice that resemblance to Oppenheimer, and when did you feel compelled to make the film with him?
When I'm writing, I try not to think of actors because it's limiting. If you're writing from things you've seen them do before, you're not going to challenge them fully on the page. Particularly dealing with a real-life figure, I'm trying to write the real-life Oppenheimer. Then when you finish, I'm sitting there looking at the copy of American Prometheus, the book I'm adapting, and there's this picture of the real-life Oppenheimer with this intense blue-eyed stare looking out at me, as I had been for months. And suddenly I'm like, okay, I know who can do that. And I've worked with Cillian for 20 years. I know he's one of the great actors, but I've never worked with him as leading man. So this time I've got to pick up the phone and say, okay, this is the one where you take me center stage. And not just that, I've written the script in the first person. You're gonna have to take the audience with you. We're gonna see everything through your eyes.
Algebra's like sheet music. The important thing isn't can you read music, it's can you hear it? Can you hear the music, Robert?
Yes, I can.
There's an old idea in acting that what's most interesting isn't the emotion itself, but the effort to contain it. Because once emotion spills out, it's gone. But when it's held back, it lingers. And there's a good reason for that. When an emotion is contained, it doesn't disappear. It turns into something else, something you can feel. Even when nothing is being said, it's that which pulls you in. Because now you're not just watching the moment. You're trying to read it, trying to understand what's just sitting beneath the surface. That's where the tension comes from. You feel it in the pauses, in the smallest of facial expressions. It's in all the things that aren't being said. It's not just about what the character is doing. It's about what they're holding back. And that's where it becomes powerful. Because now you're watching someone manage something real. Not just emotion, but the effort to control it. And that effort, that internal struggle, is always more interesting than the release. And maybe that's why performances like this hit the way they do. Because we don't live in a quiet world anymore. Everything around us keeps pushing for more noise, more emotion, more attention. Every moment feels like it has to prove itself. And in the middle of all of that, this kind of performance feels different. It doesn't try to overwhelm you. It doesn't beg to be noticed. It just holds its ground. And in a culture that's constantly escalating, that kind of restraint feels almost rebellious. And maybe that's the real reason it works. Because when everyone else is trying to take control of the room, the one who doesn't have to already has.
And now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds.
Scene decoded, cipher cracked. Who's next? subscribe, and stay locked in.